Good. So let's start the roundtable discussion. And I apologize that I'm having a flu, so my voice is not so good. And I'm also sort of a bit feverish, but this is an important topic. So I have been looking forward to this. The topic is building a stronger energy efficiency ecosystem. And we are privileged to have a esteemed panel with three people. One is engineer Chen, who has decades-long experience in energy efficiency in the building sector. Has also been a stakeholder in the EECA, the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act. And for this meeting, I think it states that you are representing GBI, but I think you have many hats within the field of energy efficiency. Then we also have Rosman Hamzah, and he's an expert in energy efficiency using cogen, natural gas. And we also have engineer Adan Yusof, who is also a specialist in energy efficiency through cogen, in this case from biomass, from plantation bio waste. And then you have myself. I am also an expert within energy efficiency in buildings and have a green building consultancy here in Malaysia for the last 20 years. All right, so let's get started. I will ask some I'll ask some questions, and then if one of you, sometimes I'll direct it directly to someone at the panel, otherwise I'll open it up to the whole panel. So the first question, which is what underpins this session, is the EECA, so the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act, which came into effect 1st of January of this year, is basically setting certain requirements for the high energy consumers of both electric and thermal energy. And I always like to know a little bit of the background of how we arrived here. So the first question I would like to direct to Chen, just to recap. What was the path that led us to finally getting the EECA in place? Chen.
Thank you, Gregers. And first of all, allow me to do a quick correction. No, I'm not representing GBI here. I've just been listed as a founding member of GBI, so that's a fact. Okay. As you mentioned, I wear too many hats, so I'll just leave it as it is. Okay, let's start off with your question. The background of EECA is interesting because I've now got to record quite a while back. Now, the journey probably commenced in even the early 2000s. I think all of you can recall we developed the MS1525 in 2001. That is the energy efficiency standard for the building sector. And very quickly, we were supposed to come out with a energy efficiency bylaw in our uniform building bylaw. And that was ready in 2003, if I recollect. But as it happened, it finally got gazetted only in 2012. That's the bylaw 38A, which currently a lot of people are aware of. Now, at the same time, I would say that MS1525, even though when it was developed in 2001, is still the preferred standard by many other of our regional countries when they started developing their standard. So we are quite proud of that. But along the way came the RE Act in 2011. Okay, not the EECA yet. So it's a case, to my opinion, of us enacting the Daughters Act before the Mothers Act. So I think all of you know what it means. Now, it's only by 2018 that the EECA final draft was finally ready. But unfortunately, we had changed our government, changed our ministers, etc. So we delayed and fell further behind. So from a position of being number 2 in the region for energy efficiency in terms of standards and so on, I believe we fell almost to the last, because we are one of the last to finally enact our EECA in November 2024, and effective, as you mentioned, January 2025. However, allow me to add that I'm still optimistic that we can catch up on the energy efficiency practice here, because the industry has a strong foundation and we had a lot of NGO support who has persevered all these years. So I'll leave it as it is. Okay, I hope that that's a quick recall. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Chen. That was interesting. I didn't personally know all those details, so so that's great. I just recall that there was also at one point an net, was it NEAP, the something energy efficiency action plan that also was
those comes, yes, you're correct. We had NEAP, NEAP 1.0, which was subsequent to another study called NEEMP, National Energy Efficiency Master Plan, which we concluded in 2010. But somehow rather it didn't get approved, and then they watered it down through an NEAP 1.0 for a so-called shorter period of energy efficiency target. That means a 10-year period. The NEMP was a 50-year period target with all the stakeholders' input. Now that you reminded me, others have almost forgot about it. And of course, I will elaborate more as we go on, now that we are looking forward to NEAP 2.0, because NEAP 1.0 will end its 10-year cycle at the end of this year, 2025.
I see. Okay, yeah, maybe we can talk about that later on when we look forward. Okay, so that's that's a really long time to finally get some Energy Efficiency Act through. So so I would like to hear from all of you if you are happy with the final product after those almost 25 years of molding and shaping this EECA. Do you want to start TL Chen or?
Okay. I was hoping somebody would chip in. Anyway, I can just kickstart it by saying that yes, now the EECA is in place. You wonder. I mean, the question asked would be, would it actually drive the industry towards EE? I would certainly say so, because I may be a bit biased because I was a stakeholder in those development, and that certainly for the building sector, the EECA is quite thorough to cover that sector. We have the act now, but what we need now is the regulations to implement it, and that's where the NEAP 2.0 is coming out. Now, NEAP 2.0 will be implemented by ST, and just for information, ST stands for Suruhanjaya and Tenaga, or in English is Energy Commission. So this will be, NEAP 2.0 would be launched, I think, quite definitely it's going to be starting in January 2026 for a period, another 10 years until 2035. And yes, whether an EECA is covered enough, I would say that without EECA, it would be almost impossible to collect all the necessary data for further improvement. Okay, I think I'll allow others to continue before I add on.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, so I would also like to ask engineer Adan Yusof, for example, because you are more in the plantation cogen sector, but the EECA also covers thermal. So first of all, does the EECA cover your field of work?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. I have been through developing the fifth energy policy way back in 1990s when I was in economic planning unit at the time. We developed the fifth fuel policy. It's energy efficiency and renewable energy. And we have come quite a long way where now I think there is a sufficient amount of critical mass to move it forward. And the EAEC will make the foundation for all these assets, these legacy assets, to be in line with energy efficiency. Some experience with the Kuala Lumpur City Hall indicates that the data set that they have are all over the place and they are unable to quickly respond to the EAEC, even though if they want. And this type of legacy issues which have not taken into consideration energy efficiency in either planning or implementation have got some setbacks over the years. However, I think I believe that there is already critical mass. A lot of people are participating in the industry itself, and awareness in building owners as well as industrial complexes seems to be at a better place compared to, say, 10 years before.
Okay, happy to hear that. And Rosman, what's your view on the EECA and its effect on cogen?
Okay. Hi, Gregers. Good morning, everybody. I think first of all, we should point out that EECA only applicable for Peninsular Malaysia. So Sabah and Sarawak is not included. So when we're talking about EECA, it only applies for Peninsular Malaysia. I think that's important to note. And then secondly, then we talk about why the EECA is so much welcome. I think you've heard earlier from Adan, also Chen, that previously we were talking only about building in energy efficiency. I think EECA is the first time that we are actually focusing, including thermal inside. That's why when you look at the requirement or the threshold, we don't talk about kilowatt hour for the industry, we talk about gigajoules. That means you include all the other energy, both energy and also energy resources inside. My involvement with EECA, I'm not as senior as Adan and Chen because I was only involved in drafting of the EECA 2017 when I was the Secretary General for Malaysian Gas Association. So at that time, the interest was to present cogen as a solution towards achieving energy efficiency on the thermal side.
Okay, I see. Great, thank you. Sorry. So I'm interested in hearing your opinions on the gaps that you see in the EECA. I mean, for me personally, I remember when I first read it, I thought the fine of if you didn't comply was relatively low, so there was not that much stick. But I would love to hear your opinions, how what gaps you see, where we what would you have liked to see to have been included in the EECA?
Yeah, I think if I may, I think the one particular aspect of the EECA is to create the environment where initiative can be undertaken. But in Malaysia, we have this dominant of economic viability, meaning to say that if we are to invest in energy efficiency, can this create a return? And how can this return be weighed by the various parties? And this dominance in terms of economic viability is actually a hindrance to the implementation of large-scale energy efficiency initiative in Malaysia. We don't have a fund or dedicated fund that allows these building owners or asset owners to go for and to subsidize or to start with the investment, and that leaves the private sector to come up with innovative ideas of how to recover this initial investment. And I think the level of commitment of all parties will be much related to the economic activities, economic viability, and thereafter you will have to peg to some energy prices that is in Malaysia, which is heavily subsidized. So these things doesn't gel into the EEC implementation as well as what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, agree. Finance is very important to get things moving.
Gregers,
Yeah,
if I may chip in, I think you touched on whether there's any gaps or not, and in particular the penalty and so on, which you opine is a bit low. But I would like to say that a lot of things, I mean, imposing a high penalty and whatnot can be very discouraging or negative in nature. And don't forget, the best thing is for everybody to be aware of your responsibility to the environment and so on. You look at Japan, for example, they're very successful. They hardly need any penalty and nobody defaults because it's a collective desire. In fact, it's more shameful to be known that you're not energy efficient than anything else. If there's any gap, I would say that there was an intent. I do not know the final version of the NEAP 2.0, which will come out only next year. Although I've been a stakeholder and many others have been stakeholder, but my personal opinion is that yes, when the NEAP 2.0 will be implementing, for example, the building sector, the building energy labeling. Okay, one of the things that start off is only the big energy users, 8,000 square meters and above office building. Obviously, while this is start, I would feel that it is necessary to extend it to the smaller buildings as we go on. Otherwise, we're not going to achieve the long-term objective. And also, as a start, I believe that ST do not want to be punitive, but rather give people ample time if they can't meet the building energy label, the desired CKBI values. And if I'm not mistaken, that there's an intention to actually give them a very long grace period. And I just feel that we don't need such a long grace period. The ability to improve is really there. Okay, we should shorten that period. Yes. To my opinion, maybe two years, maximum 3 years is more than enough. They must meet it. Otherwise, yes, the penalty should apply. You can't drag on forever. Okay, that's my take on it. Okay.
Yeah. I personally, I have found it frustrating that things keep delaying and grace periods, and I mean, especially if you believe in the irreversible climate change thresholds that are being crossed very soon. So we don't really have time to wait much longer, by right. But but yeah, it's a bit of a turnaround for Malaysia, and like you say, it's also changing the mentality of the population. So, Rosman, do you have any
I think I
inputs on
somewhat
that?
agree. I agree with Chen. The thing is, there's only so much that ST can do in terms of you already have the act, then you have the regulation, then you have the guidelines. There's so much you can do, but we need basically an overarching strategy and action plan on how are you going to achieve the targets. We are looking forward for NEAP 2.0. Hopefully, it's only about 3 more months or something until 2026 where it kicks in. The other thing that I see missing is basically what is actually our target savings because when we were discussing EECA at that time, we were saying that there should be some sort of target that we need to adjust. But I understand that it cannot be inside the guideline. It could be in the NEAP. We do not know. But you also have the target in the National Energy Transition Roadmap that says something like by 2040 we should achieve 21% savings, that kind of thing. But the thing is, how do you then impose to the industry? That means this industry must, your factory or whatever must save electricity by how many percent? I know that it comes to the financial thing. How are you going to then fund this exercise in terms of energy efficiency? There should be somewhat of a target because I think at the moment what is mandated by law, you have to prepare the energy management system and then you have to do a report every year. But there is no mandate on by how much you can save. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chen, and also Adan. There is no what do you call it? There is no you are not mandated to save by how much. I think you're just mandated to do energy management system, look at it whether you can save or not. But there is no such thing as you have to save by how many percent. So if you don't have that kind of mandate by having percent, how do you then achieve the national target that we want to achieve? Maybe it's in the NEAP. I do not know because we do not have it yet being released.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I can answer that because the stakeholders has put all the input when developing the NEAP 2.0. Yes, there will be definite targets to be saved. Because my expertise is in the building sector, so I'll give you building sector as example. And as you are aware, everybody is aware that yes, the target will start off with the office buildings above 8,000 square meters. Anyway, for the information, of course, under the previous available act, there's EMIR, Energy Management for Energy Efficiency Regulation. The ST could only implement savings in electricity, and which Rosman has highlighted earlier on. Now with EECA, it covers also thermal energy. So at that time, it was compulsory for those consumers, high consumers, I think, has to report their energy usage to ST. So it's all captured. There's a list of information there. So back to the 8,000 square meters, the target is those buildings, office building larger than 8,000 square meters. The idea, through the building energy labeling, that is a mandatory requirement that they must achieve a certain building energy intensity target. So that target is finite, which means straight away you know how much percent they are going to save. Then it can be computed. And gradually we hope that from 8,000 square meters, it will then extend maybe to include 6,000 square meters and above and so on. Gradually, when data comes available, the benchmark can be set. That's office building. At the same time, the stakeholders are also being told, agree that not only office building, it will also very quickly extend to hotels, the target for the larger hotels, then the target for retail malls and hospitals. These 4 categories has been established, and later on be more target, more and more categories. At the same time, going down the size of the building. So with the BI target, it is going to be very finite. It can be worked out how many percent you're going to save. Also for the benefit of others, NEAP 1.0, which ending end of this year, also had a target. I think they had a target of 8% savings. And as it turned out, most of the savings actually came from appliances, the 5-star rating appliances. Right? So it was a bit of surprise, but that helped catch up with that requirement. And for NEAP 2.0, yes, there will also be a target, and this target will actually have to meet or even exceed the various targets set up by the ministry. If you recall, the NETR, the National Energy Transition Roadmap, and all other targets. I believe all these targets, there's the intention to meet that, so that we can, before you ask this question, which I know you're very passionate about, the Gregers, the net zero, the carbon issue, okay,
Yes.
by 2050, hopefully we can reach that.
Yes, I hope so. I wanted to show this graph that I included in my list of questions, but I have some computer problems. My laptop has still not booted up again. But anyway, I just plotted out the carbon emissions from Malaysia, and it's just going exponentially up, right? So to reverse that and get down to zero, that's a big task, because we don't have that long. 2050 is right around the corner, and we're still going steeply upwards.
But perhaps I give you another positive development even before NEAP 2.0 comes out. Okay, one of the sectors, the air conditioning sector, we all use split units around. Okay, and this is one sector which the industry has actually been very positive as well.
Graph.
Okay,
Thank you.
Let me continue, or you want to explain the graph first?
No, I think it's self-explanatory. It's carbon emissions over since the 2000. I can't even see on my small screen, but since 2050 or something, and up until today of Malaysia. Yeah. So this is the one that has to go to zero, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
So
go on.
if you allow me to give a good positive example, I was talking about the appliances, the split units. As an example, the industry has not objected to the intention to actually improve on the MEPS, the minimum energy performance 5-star rating. And currently, the split units, if off my cuff, probably the minimum standard is what you use the acronym CSPR rating, the cooling seasonal performance factor rating, is probably below 4 right now. But the entire region has all agreed to raise this very quickly to 6.09. You can imagine a quantum leap. And it was challenged to the industry whether we can make it. So yes, with the NEAP 2.0, we're going to raise it up to catch up. And the industry has been given a deadline to say that, okay, when NEAP 2.0 starts, maybe give 5 years, within 5 years, the NEAP 2.0 is 10 years, but within 5 years, you must hit that 6.09 as the minimum soon. So we are pushing that. Wow. So it's a positive change that people are reacting to it. And don't forget, the using aircon industry is also very interesting, because in Malaysia, in our context, you'll be surprised that when you talk about air conditioners, the quantum of cooling done by split units in Malaysia, to my estimate, is up almost 50%, not the bigger units. So it is a good direction.
Yeah. No, that would be great if that happens. Who's enforcing this huge energy target?
It will be under
ST.
Yes.
Okay.
Under the NEAP 2.0.
Okay. That would be good. On that topic, I actually took part in what was called the Global Cooling Prize, which was basically also trying to address that that matter of split aircons being too inefficient. And it was an initiative by the Rocky Mountain Institute in the US, but it was all executed by India. And there was a global competition to see if we could raise the energy efficiency of split units, because the current split units actually only has an efficiency of about 10%. And once you have the VRV, I mean, what do you call it? The most efficient split units, then it's about 14% efficiency. which is actually really low. I mean, they're sold as energy efficient, but if you look at it really from an energy point of view, it's still a very low efficiency compared to the theoretical max. And this competition sought to increase that efficiency to 50%. Unfortunately, I've been monitoring this closely because the two winners were supposed to launch these products on the market, and it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, so it's a quite frustrating that it hasn't happened. But hopefully this initiative by ST, which is along the same lines, can be successful.
I would like to interject. In terms of energy efficiency in the building sector, yeah, we are talking about percentage of improvement. However, if we are looking from the perspective of the supply side efficiency, for example, a typical palm oil mill, where their power generation efficiency is at 4%, this can be multiplied by 500%, by improving the conversion system, energy conversion system. And I think this particular aspect has been relatively neglected, with not insufficient support to encourage people to change technology. Palm oil mill has been around for 50 years, and most of this technology have stuck there for the last 50 years. Most of the boilers and the turbines are of low efficiency, and to create this carbon footprint, as you know, the graph that you showed, if you want to increase reduce the carbon, then the impact of this 500% efficiency in the palm oil sector, which is one of the main sector in Malaysia, would be able to create a dent in that particular growth.
Yes, and maybe Adan, Yusof, maybe you can also give a little bit of a history lesson on that, because when we spoke the other day, I realized we knew some of the same people back in the late 90s that helped to form the Malaysian fifth fuel plan. I can't remember exactly when it was launched, but I think it was in 99 maybe. And the idea was that the fifth fuel of Malaysia should be biomass through cogen and so on. So what happened? Because it didn't really materialize.
Okay, I think the plan was that, or rather, we have identified the potential since 1990s, the potential of the energy generation and the multiple improvement that can be achieved if the system were improved, or if the technology were, the energy conversion technology were improved. However, the structure of the Malaysian industry is that it is quite silo-based, meaning to say that the palm oil industry is within the palm oil sector, which is under the primary industries, while the energy efficiency is fully focused on electricity. So there is a dichotomy, or some sort of inefficiency in the system itself to be able to integrate the ideas of the policies in terms of translational projects. However, over the years, cogen plant has developed. There is one in Supong, in Banting, which has been fairly successful. They've been operating by, I think, almost 12, 15 years. There is one that I initiated years back in 2003, and now they are retooling, rehabilitating to do a more efficient cogen. And as we move forward, the the potential of integrating the energy efficiency objectives to the industry can be integrated. I'm uh, quite passionate about the concept of moving the energy as opposed to moving the biomass. Currently, we talk about a lot of moving the biomass, centralize the biomass, create a bigger power plant. But I think the easier portion, which is um, a bit more sustainable, is to have small distributed generation, efficient generation, generating maybe excess power of about 5 to 10 megawatt throughout the country with a proper evacuation system. Meaning to say that we create highways, just like what we have now, many highways in Malaysia, and we pay toll for it. The same concept can actually apply to the idea of evacuating the energy. Meaning to say that we move the energy as opposed to move the biomass. If we move the energy, then our carbon footprint is even lower per kilowatt hour that we generate. So yes, 2000 in the 1990s, I was with the government. We developed the policies, get it through parliament. After that, I worked with the my Danish counterpart, DEM, Danish Energy Management. We demonstrated a few projects. When after the demonstration, there are something that picks up. For example, the carbon trading and so on. So all these have not achieved critical mass, but with the EECA, there is a current rush for cogen plant to be developed in small industries, like the palm oil industry, palm oil related industries. They are going for biomass in order to be able to reduce their carbon footprint. I think this is a good direction that I believe the economics as well works for them. In the long run, the potential, just giving like a big number, the potential in Malaysia with 400 palm oil mills with 5 megawatt per palm oil mill extra power, we can actually generate about 2,000 megawatt of power, of sustainable power. And with that 2,000 megawatt, we will be able to reduce the carbon footprint. I mean, create a dent to the reduction in the carbon footprint. Yes.
Yeah, interesting. How many of the 400 palm oil mills currently have the cogen? Do you know?
I think about maybe around 2%.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a huge potential. Okay. When you talk about palm oil mill, their main business is palm oil. Palm oil, as you know now, is a very, very lucrative business. And this energy efficiency is one of the thing that is on the top rank of their priority list. So when we talk about energy efficiency and compare the savings, this 5 megawatt potential energy or potential sales to their daily production of palm oil, so it is totally insignificant with multiple risks. Now that has created a lot of reluctance in the industry to pick up this particular idea and move it forward. I think the minister that's responsible has mentioned this many times, but the take-up rate is still low.
So what in your opinion, how can we increase this take-up rate?
Okay, there are 3 strategies, very straightforward strategies. One is to provide the highway, provide the transmission system that can carry out, that can evacuate this power. Most of these palm oil mills are in the remote areas, and for them to find a location to inject into that is quite difficult. So the first thing to do is to invest in the evacuation system, just like investing in the highway, North-South highway and so on. The second item is to provide easy access to the interconnection point. So this interconnection point should be closer to the cluster of the palm oil mill. And the interconnection requirement, if you know, if anyone is doing biomass power plant, is equivalent to the 1000 megawatt IPP. Same consideration and same regulation imposed on this 5 megawatt plant to the 500 megawatt or 1000 megawatt plant. And comparing with, Thailand, it's totally different. Thailand facilitate the injection point. And the third one is the commercial incentive. How at this point in time, if you notice, the biomass energy is very low. It means we actually have about 36 Malaysian cents, 0.36 ringgit per kilowatt hour. And this is about 8 cents, 8 US cents. And for you to create an environmental project with 8 US cents return is quite difficult. So the mechanism to reduce the costs, associated costs to the biomass power plant should be looked into. How can innovative projects be done? And one of the major items that we have been suggesting to the government is that we create a pool. We create a pool of funds that is very interested in renewable energy, which can finance this project. And there are many private entities that are interested in renewable energy, but find it difficult to invest, primarily because of the range of issues. And one of the main issues is the availability of the biomass. When we put the biomass power plant at the source, at the palm oil mill, then you don't have this particular issue of biomass sustainability. The next one is the transportation. If you are transporting this biomass, and in events in Malaysia, we have many holidays, Hari Raya, we have Christmas, we have Chinese New Year, and during this period, trucks cannot run. Trucks cannot run on the road. And for a biomass plant that has to run 24/7, this is a major difficulty. If you have a 7 days of no biomass, then your power plant will actually shut down during this period. So removing this particular transportation of the biomass out of the equation, then we have a less risk. The risk of the biomass power plant having a shortfall. And many power plants in Malaysia have found this particular failure, this particular issue as the main cause of failure in Malaysia. And we shouldn't continue in this direction. And should change our strategy accordingly.
Yep, makes good sense.
Sorry,
Maybe
because I need to interject here because KPK, which is Kementerian Perdagangan and Komoditi, has already launched, I think last year, the biomass action plan. We were, when I was MGA, we were involved in that because we want to put in the cogen element inside. And there is a solution to what Adan mentioned just now. So the idea is basically we understand that all these small palm mills, they are too far away from the grid, that kind of thing. So the idea is basically to collect all this affluent, to collect all this biomass, even EFB. Now KPK has spoke to the satellite, the authorities, to allow EFB to be transported without any special licenses, without any hazardous waste licenses, that kind of thing, because it's not hazardous. It can be transported to one collection point, and then from there we can put under a dome. Then we can get biogas from that. And that what you can do, you can position that dome biogas near to the natural gas pipeline, where you can then inject the biogas into the natural gas pipeline. Then you can to supply the technically supply it to any customer wherever that you are. The good thing about this is then you can use the biogas as a cogen for your energy efficiency measures. So part of if you want to have energy efficiency, part of it is to introduce cogen, and you can use that fuel cogen. And if you have, let's say, sometimes when you do energy efficiency, you convert cogen, you have too much electricity because you only need a certain amount of steam. You have too much. So this excess electricity, you can now sell it through CRES, which is the corporate renewable system. So you can now negotiate directly with your customer on the pricing. So you are not now bound to any certain pricing. You can, depending on your customer, maybe your customer really needs that what call it renewable energy, so they are willing to pay a premium. So you can actually do that. So there is an avenue for that.
Okay.
So
That sounds great.
We just need to look around it and then come up with what I call it an innovative solution. I would call this innovative solution because we'll be talking about it, and finally with the biomass action plan with CRES coming in, that it is now quite possible to do it. We were actually last time pushing through FIT, but it's difficult to get FIT because SEDA then has to certify that kind of thing. But with CRES, it's a bit more flexible.
Great to know. So I think this comment and the previous one leads me to a topic I also wanted to discuss towards the end, and that is energy pricing. Sensitive issue perhaps, but important for steering the country in the right direction. Rosman, I saw you had your finger up.
I don't know. Chen, you unmute at the same time as I put my finger up. I think I first need to clarify with Gregor on your question. What are your concerns on energy price? Because you put these questions to us. What are actually your concerns on energy pricing? Is it because it's subsidized, or what's your actual concern? Because before we can address the answer.
My concern is exactly what you said, that if you subsidize energy, then from an energy efficiency point of view, it's actually having an active policy that encourages energy waste, because you make the energy artificially cheap.
Okay, then I can answer. So so basically, when you look at the act, they have two types. One is energy and energy resources. Okay, let's look at energy resources. The energy resources are all sold at market rate. I don't see any of the energy resources that has been subsidized, including natural gas. The only natural gas price that is being so-called controlled now is the gas to power industry. Whereas gas to other industry like non-energy and also industry, they are now sold at willing buyer, willing seller kind of basis. So technically market price. Then we talk about electricity with RP7, RP4, which is supposed to be starting January this year, but then it's been pushed back to July this year. The price of electricity are now seems to be market rate. There is no more subsidies. The only subsidy that we get is domestic with this energy efficiency incentive. So that's the only subsidy that we get. If you look at your electricity bill, especially in the industry, it is very transparent how much it costs to generate, how much it costs to transmit, and how much it costs to distribute. So you already have the breakdown of prices. That should already be at market price, and that should already be encouraging us to do energy efficiency. Right, Chen, do you agree, or do you have something else that you want?
Thank you, Rosman, for updating certain things, because I not followed up quite a few things. Back in 2010, in the NEAP, National Energy Master Plan, when it was developed, the industry stakeholders actually agree to say that we should gradually remove all subsidies for gas at the time. The only request they have is do not flip-flop, all right, because they cannot do pricing. So yes, we must not subsidize anymore. And it's very clear. The argument then was, yes, you spend money on practicing EE, implementing EE. Even the tariff goes up, you're still paying the same quantum. It's only those who refuse to implement EE, then you pay a penalty for polluting. So that's always been the basis of things like, and I hope even for electricity, that must be maintained. Commercial and industrial, we should not offer subsidy, right? They should spend their money on EE and go on. And don't forget, we have another choice right now. You see, if you improve your EE, you can have spend less capex on RE as well, because there's a RE element right now, right? So don't go RE first, rather do EE, and then your expenditure for RE is also lower. So these are the premise of a lot of things that can be done.
Yep.
Can I mention on RE versus EE?
Yes.
The thing is, when you talk about, I'm coming from the thermal angle. When we talk about thermal, if you use RE, you will have less efficiency in terms of conversion compared to fossil fuel, right? So if then it becomes, how do you then manage it? Because the conversion using RE, like biomass or whatever, compared to natural gas, for example, the conversion rate is actually not as efficient as fossil fuel. So actually, I think you're right. Go for EE first, because RE might not give you advantage of energy efficiency.
Yeah, thank you, Rosman. There's another area on RE which I've always expounded, but it still needs to take off. You see, we are very good at solar PV here for electricity, but in Malaysia, we are not taking advantage of solar thermal. This is where it's more efficient, because we have plentiful of solar to convert to thermal, especially for cooling, which is something that I've been broaching for a long time right now. I hope this will lift off soon with some incentives and so on. And talking about incentive, since you're talking about pricing, of course, everything comes, if you want to move fast, you would need incentive and so on. And I'm happy to say that some of these proposed incentive, or that the stakeholders asked, even for under NEAP 2.0, even before then, like this year, somewhere in the middle of this year, SEDA has already launched the next phase of this chiller rebate incentive. It's called NOR. It stands for I think Nikmat Untuk Rakyat at Petra, and which offers 250 ringgit per ton of chiller replacement, which is good because we also address our HCFC issue. So this is ongoing, and encourage people to take up the offer, because replacement chillers nowadays, definitely technology has advanced so much, it's so much more efficient now. So this offer is still on until end of next year. So what I'm saying is that there should be incentives coming out under NEAP 2.0, and this chiller rebate incentive is already in place. There are others coming, which the industry has identified for ST to follow on. In the building sector, we are very, very inefficient in commissioning. So we are talking about giving incentive, not just for energy audit, but also for recommissioning and retro-commissioning. That's where you're going to save a lot more money as well. So these are the things on the plate, and we are just waiting, like everybody else, what is the final launch of the NEAP 2.0?
Yeah, it sounds like we should have a follow-up session in January of 2006, once we see the text of the NEAP 2.0. I also wanted to ask you on pricing, because of course the target for Malaysia and most other countries is to become net zero carbon emitters. So we also have to convert it to carbon. So not having a subsidy is a good start, but should we also impose a carbon tax? What's your opinion on that? Who wants to start?
All right, you're touching on something very, very personal in a lot of opinions. Even carbon tax, how do you impose that? Okay, in what form? Okay, we always say that yes. My personal opinion is yes, it's a direct carbon tax, which means you don't reduce your carbon, we pay the tax rather than through trading or crediting or financing. So that indirect way is like, my opinion is like you allow others to pollute while you allow others to reduce carbon, but you pollute. We are on the same planet. It doesn't matter where you pollute. So you pay a heavy price if you want. And I equate that to the F-gas tax that the Scandinavian countries has applied very successfully. And I mean, Gregers, I know you're aware of the F-gas tax, but not the others. F-gas tax as an example, because they do not want a global warming so-called refrigerants around. So they introduce a F-gas tax, which applies to HCFC and HFC even. Okay, as an example, the most commonly used refrigerant is now HFC 134A. The cost of this gas is about, say, 10 euro per kilogram, but the tax is 50 euro. So you decide what you want. It's very heavy. So in Scandinavian countries, you can see they are all going to natural refrigerants, which does not pollute the environment. But so tax as source, that's what my personal opinion should go along that line. Then it's more meaningful.
Gregers, in my opinion, when we talk about carbon tax, we should not see carbon tax as an income. Because the concern is now if you see carbon tax more as an income rather than a deterrent. As you know, Malaysia will have soon the CCUS roadmap, which is the carbon cap roadmap. The driver for that is it's more on income that we get from storage rather than from us reducing our own carbon footprint. So when we talk about carbon tax, the intention has to be clear, is for us to do a deterrent. That means the less tax that we collect on the carbon is good. It's good for the country. The less tax that we collect is good. But if you are proud that we collect so much tax on carbon, then there is something wrong with your with your what I call it intention. But the thing is, when you talk about carbon tax, it's also imposing carbon tax on power generation. But yet you see that more than how many 90% of the power generation is actually coming from fossil fuel. So carbon tax, you need to think about it carefully, because when you impose it, your intention will be to reduce carbon and not to gain income from it.
Yeah. I remember reading the report by the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and they actually calculate the true cost of fossil fuels in each country. And for Malaysia, the true cost is close to 200 billion ringgit a year, because you have all that pollution. I mean, polluters pay, but we don't do that, right? So it's a externality that no one pays for, and we have a lot of climate change effects that no one pays for as well. So by right, the fossil fuels should be added. I mean, if we believe in the polluters pay principle, we should add a collective tax of about 200 billion a year, and that would change things up a lot.
If the fund is channeled towards climate change mitigation and avoidance, then it works. But if the fund is used elsewhere to subsidize maybe another fossil fuel, so then it doesn't work.
Yeah,
I think the overall requirement of taxation, the real intention of taxation is to support the overall economy of the country. And taxation and subsidies are tools for the government to be able to push ahead with their economic agenda. And these elements of carbon reduction should be looked into from that perspective as an economic potential in developing the economy, Malaysian economy, as opposed to tax revenue or penalty. So the elements of taxation and subsidy, if properly balanced, then it will actually generate a better economic performance for the country in order to achieve a certain status. The fact is that when Malaysia trades with other people, you have to comply For example, the cross-border mechanism, the CBM cross-border mechanism, it imposes on big companies that exports to Europe to have a lower carbon footprint. And if the carbon footprint is higher, then you pay. So something like polluters pay. So the economic potential of environmental performance is actually driven by the trade, driven by the international trade. If we were to look at that from that perspective, then the industry per se will be able to move their operation as well as their activities in line with international norms, which is supposed to reduce carbon footprint. So I think subsidy and tax, these are tools for government to move the economy. And if we were to use one element in response to a particular objective, then maybe we will be developing a situation where inconsistencies in the government policies or government objectives will be affected.
Yeah, I have a fun fact. So tax in German is Steuern, I think, and so that means tax, but it also means to steer. They use the same word, right? So, like you are saying, it's a tool. It's you apply a tax to steer the society or your country in the direction that you want. So taxes is yeah, a very good steering tool that we should use to where we want to go. Okay, maybe on that note, sorry, I can see the time is up. So thank you very much, the three of you, for a great discussion, and I think we maybe can ask Climate Governance Malaysia to reconvene all of us early next year once we have the NEAP 2.0 in our hands, and we can have a more factual discussion on these targets and incentives and so on that are proposed in that document, in those regulations. So it's a continued discussion. So